Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. We are the local organizing committee on behalf of Australia. Before we start our video presentation, please let me introduce my committee members who come up with this perfect document with honor. Kaiwen, IC, Eva, and Tina. This is Raymond. Today we will present you a well-devised legacy plan to achieve the short and long-term legacy by hosting the AFC Asian Cup 2015.
You will believe that giving Australia the opportunity to host this event will definitely thicken your profile of making the right decision and having another successful event. AFC Asian Cup is the second oldest continental football championship in the world after Copa America. In 1956, the AFC had its first tournament in Hong Kong. Since then, this competition was held every fourth year until 2004. However, as the Summer Olympic Games and the European Football Championship were also scheduled in the same years as the Asian Cup, the AFC decided to move their championship to a less crowded cycle. After 2004, the tournament was held in 2007 and has been held every 4 years. The AFC has 47 member countries, which makes up half of the world's population, so it is an honor for Australia to host this long history and far-reaching mega event. Today, our document will show you how the 5 cities proposed by us fit into our strategies to ensure legacy be achieved. Our document will follow this way. First, an overview of legacy in the academic and practical world. Then, we put forward 3 main legacies needed to be addressed in the 5 proposed cities and some specific objectives under each area, following which are the stakeholders who may concern, based on which we come up with some core strategies to integrate stakeholders and achieve those legacy goals. Firstly, let's take an overview of legacy in the academic and practical world to see what implications and lessons we can get. In terms of the legacy of international sport events, there are many researchers discussing the impacts that exist before, during, and after the events. However, there is limited consensus around the conceptualization of legacy in the academic literature. According to Thompson's review of legacy around mega sport events, 5 key considerations emerged from most of the definitions of legacy among 14 publications. Terminology. Although authors do not use the same word to describe what is recognized by most researchers as legacy today, there seems to be a consensus among them that the word legacy is the most proper one. In spite of different terms they use, they give a rigorous definition based on the discussion scope, so it gives us the implication that no matter what terminology is used, they have to be defined so that stakeholders have a clear vision for what is to be achieved. Whether legacy is automatically bestowed or needing to be planned. In the early stage of studying mega events and legacy, a common opinion is that legacy is bestowed by events. However, with the deepening of research, more and more authors acknowledge that in order to lessen the unexpected negative impacts, it is better to plan the legacy ahead. Temporal nature of legacy. Legacy can reveal at different stages and can be in short term or in long term. So, when planning the legacy, it is important to plan for legacies in different phases and for different duration. Legacy can be positive or negative. So, in our legacy strategies, we will try to maximize the positives and limit the negatives. Legacy as a local and global concept. Events of all sizes should be conceptualized in their broadest context to ensure the positive legacy reach to the maximum. Engage stakeholders early on is a way to ensure that event legacies have a maximum reach. Apart from the academic research, legacy is also being assessed in the practical world. In the practical world, legacy is essentially a dream to be pursued rather than a certainty to be achieved. Potential host cities often see mega events as a vehicle to drive the economy and urban regeneration. However, we will keep it in mind that the initial meaning of having a sport event is to realize the sport education function. In the practical world, different cities realize their legacy objectives to different extent. The Sydney 2000 Olympic Games is widely deemed as a successful event with respect to embracing positive unplanned legacy, especially in terms of the housing in the Olympic Village.
The London 2012 Olympic Games also finished its promise to improve the participation rate of sports by British youth and regeneration of East London, while the Manchester 2002 Commonwealth Games also succeeded in the revitalization of urban Irving. Next, let's welcome Kevin to introduce the legacy objectives we selected.
Okay, let's start talking about the legacy objectives we selected. Although there are 5 types of legacy which are widely adopted by event planners, today we choose 3 of them to justify ourselves: sporting, tourism, and social. It is based on the following considerations. Asian Cup as a sports event, the sporting legacy should be placed with a primary role to guarantee the original meaning of having a sport event. Economic development can always be achieved through mega events, not excluding the Asian Cup in Australia, and tourism can be the key to realize that. The above 2 legacies are more tangible legacies. However, we should also pay attention to the intangible dimension. Psychic income and cultural communication as intangible impacts under the social domain can also be achieved through the Asian Cup. Under the social domain can also be achieved through the Asian Cup. The reason why we leave out a specific discussion on environment and urban renewal legacy is because we do not want to describe Australia as a non-environmentally good country. Neither do we want to deny the fact that these 5 cities have a satisfying level of urban development. The first is the sporting legacy objectives. We found that applicant city claimed the AFC venue would serve as a sporting legacy for the community. For Australian cities, the sporting legacies would focus more on educational system, degree of participation, and the subsequent use of stadia they leave behind. The first one is improve the football educational system. We are devoted to enhancing and improving the development of football education in our country by holding Asian Cup. Moreover, we will also focus on increasing educational football programs and activities in schools and community clubs. The second is increase the participation rate of football among Australians. Communication objective is to increase the community groups' emotional connection and participation rate toward football by 25%. The third one is continued usage of venues after the event. We aim that increase the sales by 15 for the host cities by renting out the venue more frequently. The second legacy objective is tourism. Holding Asian Football Cup could promote the development of tourism in Australia. Asian Cup can also leave the tourism legacy for Australia. Aimed at tourism legacy, we put forward 3 objectives that we hope to achieve by Asian Football Cup. The first one is raising the public awareness of some not very famous city and attractions. Second is increase the number of tourists and tourism revenue of destination. The third one is increase the positive image of Australia. The third legacy objective is social. Social legacy is one of the intangible legacies of hosting the Asian Cup in 2015 in short term and long term. The first one is the psychic income. The excitement, euphoria, and pride experienced by residents of host country and host cities have been described as a psychic income. The psychic income of hosting Asian Cup in Australia could be concluded into 2 aspects: improving the self-esteem and national pride of Australian people, creating an excitement and euphoria atmosphere in Australia. And second is cultural legacy. It is important to enhance the volunteerism culture in Australia, especially among those non-Australian born youths. Strengthen the cultural communication among different cultures from different countries and regions. Okay, let's just talk about the stakeholders. There will be a lot of stakeholders concerning these legacies. They might get plenty of benefits from the successful bid of AFC.
First of all, governments of all levels in Australia will get the benefits from Asian Cup, which will help the government increase the reputation of the country in those host cities. That may help those cities to engage more international events to maintain the competitiveness of the city in the world. In addition, the successful bid of AFC must push forward the government to earn more tax revenues, which will be contributed by tourists or football fans. Although the urban renewal will cost the government a lot, governments may increase the satisfaction level of local residents through the upgrade of infrastructures. In addition, the mega events need investment from governments as the most important fund sport. The second stakeholders will be the communities. The local residents will benefit from the AFC in terms of tourism development, urban renewal, new sports facilities, and environmental improvement. The host cities usually focus on the urban renewal, which include transportation and infrastructures. Locals want their daily lives to become more convenient and colorful. Therefore, the upgrade of sporting facilities and infrastructures would definitely meet the demand of local residents, and it will be helpful to increase the residents' euphoria and the national pride of the host cities and the country. The third stakeholder will be the Football Federation Australia and its members. If the bid will be successful, the Football Federation Australia will be very happy because AFC improved the reputation of Australia football team, making more and more people realize the Australia football team. In addition, this is an effective approach to engage people get involved in AFC, becoming a supporter of Australian football teams or clubs. If people may pay more attention to A-League, the broadcast right may be more valuable, and the Football Federation Australia would benefit from the abundant broadcast fees. In addition, AFC might increase the awareness of football in Australia. Thus, the football youth system will be emphasized to supply a lot of potential football stars to Australian national team, which might be the key elements for Australia to win the Asian Football Cup, even the FIFA World Cup in the future. The next stakeholder will be the tourism sectors. Many sub-industries under tourism sector will be engaged in these legacies, such as tourism attractions and sites, travel agencies, airline, and other transports. The travel agency will receive more and more tourists if they promote their package effectively, which including the flight, hotels, and the tickets of AFC before or during the AFC. The travel agencies could also expand their target market if their package is attractive enough, and it will be an excellent opportunity for them to increase the market share and their reputations, which might be helpful maximize their profits through the successful bid of AFC. Regarding to airline, they could temporarily raise the number of Asian Pacific regional flights to meet the requirement of visitors. Airline may gain more profits through the increasing number of visitors, and that would be a chance to develop its own memberships. Most important for airline is the Asian market, which have a large space to be developed in the recent years. The last stakeholder will be the schools. Schools are the places for children to play football. Children could learn the football education course to strengthen their physique.
Moreover, the community's football match usually take place at the schools. Some football coaches will be invited to help the football players or children conducting professional training. Okay, let's welcome Tina to give her explanation.
Thanks, Kaiwen. Several strategies are formulated in order to make these legacies become effective before, during, and after the Asia Cup in Australia 2015. First of all, recruiting overseas coaches, employee overseas training courses. First, after successfully holding Asia Cup, we will attract foreign excellent football coaches and experts to Australia by the promotion of host city in traditional media, social networks, football-related events, the sport spirit brought by sporting legacy, and use their training skills and courses to further improve Australian football training system. Second, the relevant abilities and the technical level of Australian football players are improved by these training courses. Secondly, we should combine football sports and school courses. Add football course to gymnastic courses, offer football education to children, and develop their abilities in sports coordination and cooperation, inspiring a generation of young people to take up sport as a lifelong habit. The participation of grassroots football players, especially young people, will be improved and the whole population will be encouraged to be more physically active. We have several examples to achieve our objectives. We could build more football clubs in communities to make people have more access to football. In club activities, we consider the following 5 development strategies. Firstly, introduce all the relevant football culture to community residents, such as competition rules, famous football players, football history, and so on. Moreover, build a communication platform in clubs for community residents. Secondly, setting exhibition zones and sale channels related to football to increase the degree of people's participation and stimulate the economic development. Thirdly, attract more community residents to participate in football sport by holding small-scale football games. It may be the best strategy to engage more people to participate, so people can experience more benefits that football brings to society and individuals. Fourthly, there are direct and indirect ways to inspire individuals to enjoy football. In terms of direct way, for global people, they can be engaged in this event via mass media. As to the locals, being engaged in the events via mass media, live spectating, and volunteering, and so forth. With regard to the indirect way, actions of sport organizations can motivate athletes to take part and succeed in events. Host cities could enhance sporting facilities and strengthen sport organizations. Lastly, to gain a 15% increase in revenue for the host cities by renting venues, first, we consider use temporary relocatable venues, which can be disassembled and used elsewhere or even recycled once the game has been staged. The recycled and dismountable facility materials are used to build stadiums, which can be reused in other projects or rented more efficiently according to different demands after Asia Cup is finished, so that the parts needed in assembling can be updated at a lower cost. Second, that lowers the fee to rent a venue so that more events can be held to keep a high rate of usage, and the low rent fee can attract more investors. Third, the utilization of venues can be increased by selling the entrance tickets, holding ceremonies, and holding competitions. Finally, we can use celebrate effect. During Asia Cup, for example, sports stars will deliver a speech in those live broadcasting room or watching football competitions in the Hunter Stadium in Newcastle, which will improve the media exposure of the venue. Now, welcome IC.
Thanks, Tina. We will continue to talk about strategies of a tourism legacy. In order to reach our objectives, 5 strategies are proposed to develop tourism. Mass media is an efficient way of promoting Australia tourism before, during, and after Asian Cup. Firstly, inserting Asian Cup advertising into TV channel, especially during broadcasting football matches to attract the audience traveling to Australia. Combined publicity means host cities and Asian Cup bond with each other in promotion to raise publicity awareness of host cities. Secondly, Australia could take this opportunity to promote itself through social media. For example, host cities could work together to create a multilingual official account on Facebook website, WeChat or Weibo, and SNS account linking with 2050 official Asian Cup website. These social media are commonly used by Asians. In this social media, people could get detailed information about the Asian Cup, such as matches timetable, where the venue is. Also, this account could be a tourist guide for host cities in advertising tourist attractions. This method could increase people's attention to let them know more about host cities. It could also inspire the tourist desire of followers. Whatever they are, the fans who has less time traveling interstate or international for one match or one team, or real tourists who not only participate in Asian Cup but also want to travel, or just followers who stay in their home country but strongly concern Asian Cup. They all could be potential tourists. Thirdly, host city could create a traveling package which dedicates to develop tourists through holding Asian Cup. These packages between famous host city and not famous host city before, during, and after Asian Cup could increase the public awareness of not famous host cities. This strategy focuses on international tourists. As we all know, Sydney and Melbourne are the most popular destinations for international tourists, which means as long as tourists has been to both places, they think they has been to the whole Australia. In fact, there are other unique cities and attractions in Australia. Therefore, the purpose of this point is developing other attractions by the halo effect of a famous destination. Except for Sydney and Melbourne, Brisbane, Canberra, and Newcastle also will be the host city holding matches in 2015 Asian Cup. Hence, it would be a good chance to develop tourism in those not famous host cities and attractions and attract more tourists. Therefore, 3 packages should be promoted. First, famous destination and not famous destination combination for international tourists. Second, famous destination combination. Third, not famous destination for tourists who has been to Australia before. Moreover, some themed activity and the event which relate to Asian Cup could be planned as the tourist attractions.
In addition, related government departments come up with more flexible visa policy which could let people to Australia. Now, Eva will introduce the next part.
I will introduce you the strategies of social legacy. Firstly and most importantly is to guarantee the Asia Cup runs smoothly and successfully. It has to check all the prepared works during pre-event and make sure the venue, support staff, and volunteers' competitions and the whole process goes smoothly.
Meanwhile, upon the ending, it must ensure to clean the venue and eliminate the negative environmental impacts so that it could leave a good international image and leave a positive profile in the Asia Cup history. Throughout this, it could also increase the national pride of Australian people. Secondly, enhance the publicity of Asia Cup among communities. The event needs to support from local communities, along with the publicity of Asia Cup among communities, so more and more people and volunteers would involve in these publicity activities and expand the event influence. For instance, holding some community activities related to the Asia Cup, like community football games, it could not only enhance the publicity of Asia Cup, but also create a positive atmosphere of Asia Cup. Thirdly, recruiting more non-Australian-born youth with multilingual abilities as volunteers to build the international influence. Thus, it could also attract more young people to come and experience and generate cultural communications. Fourthly, integrating indigenous culture like Aboriginal show into the opening and closing ceremonies. It could present a unique Australian Aboriginal culture and expand international cultural influence. Lastly, hosting some other cultural events to promote the Asia Cup. For example, host Asia Cup photographic exhibitions to attract the shutterbug to come and participate in these activities. Meanwhile, using the high visitors flow rate before and during the Asia Cup to attract more visitors involved or appreciate the photos to expand the international influence. What is more, the photo could be uploaded through internet and shared with the people all over the world. The event could also combine the Asia Cup with Australian culture. Through this, more people get to know the culture of Australia and make Australia a more international country with a multicultural background to pride the domestic people.
In this presentation, we firstly described the detailed information about 2015 Asia Cup, then did a review on Asia Cup and legacy, both theoretically and practically perspective. To maximize the impact of legacy, we build objective, confirmed stakeholders and create some strategies from sporting, tourism, and social legacy. This 25 minutes is not enough to show all of the information about our strategies. If you have any questions about our presentation, please feel free to contact us.